Hello everyone. In this tutorial we're going to be covering teaching argumentative writing on the iPad. Yesterday we discussed a little bit of how you can support pre-writing activities using the V diagram. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between argumentative writing and persuasive writing in terms of how the Common Core State Standards frame them. And then we're going to look at ways to integrate current events into your argumentative writing teaching. By the end of this tutorial, you will have experience by defining different persuasive techniques, and you will look at ways to evaluate the comments that people read on current event articles in order to look for persuasive techniques. Now, when you look at argumentative writing in terms of the Common Core State Standards, what the focus is on is evidence. Evidence from the text that students are reading. Whereas often we have framed persuasive writing as, trying to persuade and argue, but on topics like, should I have an allowance, or if there was an amusement park, what rides would be in it? There was no real textual connection to the writing that we were having our students do generally. And so I think that is overall a very good improvement in terms of the Common Core State Standards. Persuasive writing, on the other hand, is emotionally based. You're looking at ways to move the audience. You're not basing the argument. It's not academic discourse, in essence. But that being said, argumentative writing still employs persuasive techniques. It's just it is based and rooted in textual evidence. So looking at these kinds of persuasive techniques, there's really two kinds that I really highlight: appeals and claims. And we're going to go over some of those today. You have your appeal to authority, basically, your snob appeal, gender appeal, plain folks appeal, and bandwagon appeal. I'm not going to go into in-depth in defining these because I want to look at how we can support them. In terms of claims, you have your normal statistical claims, rhetorical claims, the unfinished claims, and rebuttal claims. Now, I like using current events to teach how persuasive techniques are used in argumentative writing. One, because the focus is on informational text. And as everyone knows, that is another one of the clear goals of the Common Core State Standards, is to try to strike a balance of a 50-50 balance by the time students are in high school, or a 70-30 balance, sorry, by the time students are in high school with informational text and narrative text. You could show the academic discourse, or more aptly, the lack of academic discourse in the comment sections. In today's kind of heated debate, you'll see a lot of the comments that people write just are not based in evidence. So it's a good way for students to see the difference really between persuasive writing and argumentative writing. But what they do use are a lot of persuasive techniques, especially when you read like sports blogs or political blogs. Why the discourse between sports fans and political commentators is the same as for another post, but both of them provide great avenues to look at evaluating persuasive techniques. In my next presentation, I will discuss ways to evaluate textual-based evidence that are used, and then have students use textual-based evidence. So how do I do this? Well, on the iPad, I would use, as anyone knows, I'm a huge fan of NU Annotate. And that is the tool that I would use to really evaluate this information. Specifically because it allows you to mark up PDF documents, upload them, and share them. So the first thing you need to do is find an article. I like using the articles from Politico, mainly because the vitriol in the comments section is quite entertaining and chock full of persuasive techniques. So I would go to Politico. Now, if you have the Politico app installed on your iPad, one thing I would like to add is I couldn't figure out a way to access the comment sections. They may be there. I couldn't find them. So I went to the actual Politico website and not the app. So the first thing you need to do is take screenshots of the comment sections. If you do not know how to take screenshots, you can look that up online, but basically you hit kind of your sleep button and your home button at the same time, and that will add the screenshot to your camera roll. Then I would roll over to and you annotate, and you can click up on the, it's not showing up in the tutorial, but you can click up on the picture of the mountain, the icon that is the same across most of the apps, and go to camera roll and select the picture you just picked. And there you have it. It's right on the screen. Now, what I would do is I would have 3 screenshots for students. And one that you could do, it's basically a basically an I do, we do, you do approach, where you would model with the first one, have students partner up on the second one, and have them do it alone on the third. So if you wanted to add extra pages to, and you annotate, you hit the little arrow tool at the upper right hand corner. I apologize, I don't know why the tools aren't showing up. So you hit the upper right hand corner, and I'm going to insert a page after. And now I have a blank page. I can go back to Politico, find another comment section, or another comment that I think has a lot of techniques I'd like to use. I'll grab this one because of the statistics. Take a picture. Go back to and you annotate. And insert the picture. Now I have one that I've already prepared, so I'm going to just quickly access that. So looking at this first one, I would focus in on some of the activities that, oh, right here, this in this fourth paragraph, that last sentence, this income is already free from FICA and Medicare tax. So why is this not fair? There we have a rhetorical question. So I could have students, for the students, I would highlight that question. So I'm putting on my arrow tool. I can have them highlight it. And then I can have the students draw an arrow. I wish you guys could see all this, it's just not showing up. Flip it around. Then they can add the text. And they can, highlight that it's a rhetorical question. Next paragraph, all personal income, regardless of source, should be subject to common progressive tax rate. Reagan did this in 1986, but the top 28% rate was far too low and the resulting deficit was far too high. H.W. Bush addressed this. So you're seeing some appeal to authority there, that they're saying, well, it was okay for Reagan and Bush to do it. Why wouldn't it be okay for the current administration to do that? So we could have students highlight that. And once again, they can add in the arrow. I'm not switching colors just to save time, but, and that's another thing you could do. You could color code the different techniques and things like that, and then just have them add in the text for appeal to authority. you can resize it and have it fit and go through it. But I wanted to just do the tutorial quickly. So I would have students analyze these comment sections and look for different kinds of persuasive techniques in them. And then after you model it for the students, you could then have them pair up or work in small groups and work on the second page. And then you could go to the third page for the students to do alone. Once you're finished, the students can then click on the little arrow and they have the ability to send the document. They can mail it to you as a PDF. They could save it to Dropbox. They could save it as JPEG and send it that way. So it's a wonderful technique that you can use to really model persuasive techniques in argumentative writing.